So we have come to the scherzo of the C major Sonata Opus 2 number 3, and I'm going to actually talk about the scherzo and the last movement, the finale, in one video because the scherzo is fairly short, and the finale is difficult technically, tricky, really tricky. It has lots of spots that are not easy to play, but musically it's not as challenging, I think, as maybe first or second movement, for example. Now you have the scherzo, which is it's a quick movement. It's quick and light and funny, and it has this almost, we are back to, if you want, the comic opera world, with this descending, almost like a laugh. And which is doing a sort of a canon there, and that is not easy. You have to find a good fingering for it, because you at some point there you have to share the middle voice, the middle entry in between the two hands, I think. One thing is interesting. Remember in the first movement I was talking about how it should not sound like it's a slur over all the 5 notes, but 4 and 1, right? The difference you can hear. It's the same thing here. I don't want to hear, like the first 4 notes here are one slur, but 3 notes, and then, and it's interesting also because you have this turning motif in the first movement. It's like turning around one note, you could say. You have in the second movement, you have slow, it's slow, but it's a turning little motif. And here again. So, and actually, you have, in all 4 movements, you could say they start with a little turn. And it is interesting because in the Opus 2 as a whole, the first movement of the number 1 starts going up. You have the beginning of the second sonata in this opus coming down. It's clearly a downwards movement in those themes, in the theme or the motifs. And then you have, now he can't go upwards, he can't go downwards, so he goes both up, down, up, down, up. So it's maybe a little bit of he's done this on purpose for a little bit of fun, but I don't know. I think again, those things doesn't make a great execution of this piece, but it is a little bit, it gives something. You get into to how Beethoven thought and how he worked a little bit with the themes and how he could have the freedom to have fun with those things, actually. So the turn, a laugh, It's not the most complex thing musically to play. It has to sound fun and energetic, light, in touch. There should not be any aggression in the touch. I think it should be more upwards. You can do all four last ones as short as, meaning that they are all short, meaning that the last one is not sitting. So, if you want, it's notated that way anyway. Now, technically, this I think should feel like it comes. It's the wrist that is. This is a movement of coming a little bit round with the wrist like this, and then it's almost like if you played octaves with the wrist. You could almost practice that a little bit. It feels pretty good if you do it like with octaves for you. And so a bounce with the wrist and a supple. Again, don't fix and don't tense up the fingers. They should be soft and well, soft is maybe the wrong word. They should be flexible and alert in the fingertips. Now, it's a little bit of you have to practice that entry, so that can easily go so that you miss that articulation of 1, 2, 3, and then separate that staccato. But especially since it will happen while you are doing this movement with the right hand. I do the fingering of thumb, and here I do the E with the left hand, and then I go with the thumb on the D. Not sure if you can see this with this camera. I'll try to do it slowly again. Here, easy. Left hand, right hand. So that in the first beat there with the E and the C, I play the left hand with the left hand. And then I take the lower voice with the left hand. And then I take over this part. I do right hand thumb, right hand thumb. I'm not sure if there is any other way to do that, but that's how I do it. And I would say that until this comes, the one difficult thing here, or two difficult things, are to get this right. And I would, to do the articulation of 3 and 1. I would also think that this these 6 notes has a little bit of a falling diminuendo in them. Now, when the other thing that is difficult is really the interaction between left and right hand when you have to do different articulations in the hands, and that creates sometimes they kind of tend to influence each other. So when you have to do be still with this wrist while you are not still, you are bouncing at the same time. That can be a challenge before you get that, before you put in the practicing mileage, actually. There has to be a certain amount of slow practice at the beginning to get this right. You have to practice it really being aware of those things. And you can even, you could actually do it a little bit with movements that are slightly exaggerated, just to get that feeling of and then go slower, go smaller. And of course, the little joke is that finally, both here and the hands finally meet together and play as one. But this is a little challenge. You can make sure before you play this in a concert that you have really settled that. And now it shifts, so it's the right hand that will bounce. And there we have those octaves. And when you have done that, you should put in also, which I didn't do now, the character, the articulation, so that these so they have a character. And that character, I think, is funny and laughing. And this should be played fairly fast, I think. It is so. It shouldn't sound complicated, but it is certainly not an easy technically thing to do, to play this with a certain ease and get all these little details down. I think that when you come to this, when you come here, okay, I take from the repeat. Here, it can sit back a little bit. And here, I played it too loud, right? It's piano. If you can, try to make a slight little bit, a slight little small emotional articulation on that slur. Because you have, and here, like a slow, what we call a slow attack on that note, on the A flat. And then, this is just a joke, a little bit of a joke that he, fun thing that he does, where he puts the sforzando on the, instead of, so you have, you can actually play this a few times just to get the point of it every time and come back doing that, because it's easy to get used to everything because you have to practice it so much. So you do espressivo on the A flat, and then you do the same thing here. Which would be the normal way to play it, right? If that was written, it would still not be a bad piece. But it's not like that, right? So now we're going to change to how he has distorted things a bit. A little hesitation. I have somebody's score here with some teacher that says here, do not slow down. That's exactly what I'm doing, and I love it. I don't care. I think it's part of the fun. This one movement, and especially the last movement, the finale, is not something where you have to be enormously aware or enormously where you have to be thinking about the grand structure of things. So you cannot slow down there, or it will, I don't know why. Why can't you? Why? Sometimes, sometimes teachers says you have to explain why you do that to do it. If you can explain why you do that, I'm allowing you to do it. That's good. But sometimes they say, don't do that. Well, explain why I should not do it. With something else, then it doesn't say in the score. And here it's like he tried. And finally, I think it's more fun that way. I simply think it's more fun. And, this is same thing here, right? You can a few times, and then go distort it with Beethoven. Not heavy. Why shouldn't it be heavy? Then to do what I said people should do. Sometimes when you say do not do it, you should explain that too. Well, I think the heaviness brings a character to that ending that takes away the joking part of it. Because he has this plus, so that's more jokingly than bim bum. Too important to me. It's two C's. It's just an effect. Bum bum. You could think if this was an orchestra, you would have the timpani. Bum bum. And then, because you have not played them heavy and slowly, you will hear that silence after. Bum bum. And start. Not easy, this trio. It's a good exercise. It's a good technical etude almost. It should not be played like an etude, it should not sound like an etude, but it is surely a good technical exercise. And it should be basically more or less upwards crescendo, downwards diminuendo. So we go, it's like waves. So to play those waves, and the problem that a modern piano especially gives is that it has much more sound here than here. So to make that crescendo is a little bit tricky, especially since you have this on the two strongest fingers of the hand, while you have these on the two weakest fingers of your hand. So you have to play the two strongest fingers light and those not so light. Now, what I try to do is that I try to open up my hand, this part of the hand, when I reach up to the... So here, I'm close to the keys with playing both like this. And when I come up, I open up that hand, so I'm hitting the keys from the air up here. Especially here, you don't have so much sound in this part. So you have some work cut out for you if you start this piece. One thing I would say, it often sounds better than it feels. Might sound a little strange, but it does. It does not feel, it feels pretty awkward to play this, but very often it sounds quite a lot more flow in those notes than you think. It sounds often faster than you think. So don't give up. But don't practice it note by note. Like rhythmically and stuff, it won't really help. Think of them already if you play them slowly, and you should probably, think of them as waves already with and the trick to not get too tired is that when you open up your hand, do not tense up the thumb. Don't get like this with the thumb. so that the hand is kind of tensed up, because then you will get tired eventually. Once you reach you will feel already there that you are kind of almost cramping a little bit. Also try when you start to get that right hand a little bit more comfortable, try to listen and not ignore the left hand singing and having a certain line. I do them short. You can do whatever you want, I think. You also have the question of the second finger can play a little bit. Be aware how the second finger is being placed, because it's right after the thumb, yes, of course, but that means that how you place the second finger, how somehow determines a little bit how your hand is positioned. If you place it like this, then you can get a little stuck with these three fingers. It can be a little bit of a trouble to open up that hand and play it. So this comes back to really having that coordination between finger and wrist. And even though I said that you should open up the fingers, which you should still feel this that I've been speaking about in the technical videos. That when you come up on the fifth finger and have to turn, you have to make that turn. And you're even going to make it a little bit twice. Okay. So it's a very, very good thing for your technique, this passage. Now, once of course it has this flair of virtuosity in it, but at the same time, it shouldn't sound like an etude. So make sure that you practice your broken chords like this. And then to get that thumb going and to be very aware of the different length of here and here, and to get that turn on the fifth finger. For the last one, there I feel that if you still have the strength left in your hand, it should almost feel, I hate to say this because it can be taken the wrong way, so please don't take it the wrong way, but it should almost be like a machine gun. And the way to do this, I have this fingering. I would never dream of doing anything else than just playing the 5, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the left hand. And instead of doing it soft and supple, which can be done, I would attack every finger almost like this. This is something I don't use a lot at all. There is a spot in the Beethoven Fourth Concerto where I do it. It's almost like this kind of coming straight down with the finger, like. It looks a little unnatural, and it might feel a little bit unnatural, but it's a good way to sometimes, when it's a short amount of time, I wouldn't play this. This is not a way of playing that is very common, or that it should sound like that. Not so bad. And of course it's you have the more pianissimo, the better it is. Here, I just did a little bit slow down. I don't like that. There, I don't like that, because it prepares every ending that tells. Every ending of a movement can either say to you, it's really over now. And there is a place for that in many movements. This is more like just do. Is it over? Okay, it's over. We are not 100% sure that it actually is over. So now we know it's over. And that is more fun to me. It's better. And you can try to do it more pianissimo than I did. And it's long, short, down, up, down, up. So that is it's short, but it requires a lot of work. So don't neglect it. I almost felt now that when I did this video that I had been neglecting it a little bit. So I'm going to play it in a week. I'll take a little bit of a look into that movement. So the finale. Allegro assai. Allegro assai, for me it's clear that he means allegro and pretty quick, not allegro assai as in allegro but not too much, but actually allegro but a lot of allegro, this movement is also tricky, and everything, to me at least, everything that is in C major has its awkwardness pianistically. But in any case, musically, in the early Beethoven sonatas, and especially I would say in this sonata, you might have a few other ones, but yeah, maybe. I don't know. This is one of the. You could say about the A major, Opus 2 number 2 also, but it's like he doesn't on purpose, he doesn't care so much about building things, the building blocks. He puts a little bit of that theme there, and then comes, something else, and then comes something else, and he doesn't really care that much how it connects, or how it connects in the grand scheme of things either. So it's not, you don't have to worry so much about if there are small changes of tempi, or just take things as they come, and always remember Beethoven was a great improviser, and an improviser does not, although an improviser has a certain scheme that he is following. An improviser, thinks, okay, I'm doing this for a while, and then maybe I go here and I do that for a while, and maybe now I stayed with that a little bit, enough, so let's do something completely different. And this is slightly how I think you should see this movement. It starts with this wonderful theme. Not easy to play. You have to have a good wrist. So if you haven't, some ways to practice this is etc., the whole thing. And then you have 3, etc., and then you do, ooh. And then finally, now this this passage, it can sound, it is not so so comfortable to play, and again, most of the time it sounds a little bit better than it feels. But for example here, right, I do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 4, and then 3, right? So try to, if you start with the 5th, I guess one could start 3, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Not so bad. Actually, oh, that's really good. Oh, I just gave away a great fingering that I never thought of before. It's much easier because you want that sparkle on the upper note, which is hard to get if you have 5. So then again, I was going to say you have to open up these fingers when you play the. If you do this, it's a little bit easier to have an open hand. But so that again, it's a tricky passage to play. Beethoven showing off his pianism for sure, as a young man, as a young virtuoso, and you have to think of. You can't think of every note because, of course, that would just. There are too many notes for that. You think of, boom, boom. And I would even practice them like that. So you sink into that first note, which is on the 3rd finger, and then you come up. It's especially important since the last note will be a thumb, and the thumb is heavy, and it can easily be an accent. Which one here? Something? No. It's here, heavy, or not heavy, but weight. The weight is on the first note, and then everything is just like a chain reaction on that weight. Weight, and I'm talking about not waiting, like waiting in a line. I'm talking weight as in kilos. So in those so in groups of 6, you have to have good 4th and 5th fingers there. Surprise. Maybe I should do some exercises in a technical video for how to work the 4th and 5th fingers. That is just a challenge for everybody. And when you play Beethoven, it's good to know that his 4th and 5th fingers were amazing. He could play like incredible double notes with these fingers. So it's going to be all the way until the very last movement of the 32 piano sonatas, with the trill on the 4/5. So it's a good idea. I'll promise to make one. So here again, when he comes here, let it be like you don't really know yourself where you're going. Okay. Don't play as much as this, but I'm just making a sort of a storytelling here. Okay, let's go. And something new. You know, here when we come to this, it's all of a sudden a beautiful melody. All we had before was a right? And all that virtuoso stuff, and now, and that's what I mean with there's no real extremely well thought out, or well constructed, I should say, entry to that melody. It just comes. He just okay. Let's do it up here one more time, but in minor. Improvising. One more time, okay. And we are back. So this is how you should approach this musically, I think. You can't think of it as some kind of incredible, big constructed thing. No, it's he goes where he feels like going at the moment. When I was going to say something technically, yes, this left hand. Close. Again, I have said it many times now, you have this, where you have a loose thumb here, and again, you should be within the section where You touch the key and the bottom of the key, and do not leave that area. So that it gets this, when you add a little bit pedal, it will have this almost vibrating effect, like a vibrating chord. And instead of being too fingery and loud, which is it can easily be that, because all you have, and remember when he writes piano here, never be too piano in the right hand, so it's being don't be anonymous in that melody. Let that sing. So I would almost be a little bit piano on the way to mezzo piano, a singing piano, let's say that, a singing piano, while this just vibrates in the background, so you have maybe I'm being a little bit too dramatic in the minor there. I just got carried away. But I think it's okay. It's okay. And these, it's like he's sitting improvising and finding his way. When it comes the next time now, the theme, he adds some real octaves. Those octaves are amazing. I mean, we are very far now from so beautiful. But pianistically, we are very far from that with this. Right? And then we come to, in my view, the trickiest place, the trickiest spot in this movement, and maybe in the whole sonata. It's this here. Finally it's over. But here, just practice it a lot, and do not tense up. Do not, and do not take the route of trying to place that placement thing. It feels maybe good in the beginning, but it's just gonna put a limit to how free you can be technically in the long run and how fast you can play. There is no way you can play finally in whatever tempo you want with the placement. I know it can feel safe in the beginning, so you're just thinking, oh, that's great, but compared to the freedom. But that one gives you so much more once you get to do it well. and you practice it, because you have to practice that more, it's the hard way out, but it's a good way out. You will be able to play that with much more flow. You can also change, not character, but, well, I guess character, but you can change articulation, you can change the dynamics, however you like with that technique. You can play it pretty loud, because it actually says forte. However, I'm not sure. It doesn't sound that great if you play it forte. So I think it's like a sort of a mezzo forte. What I do then is that I just lighten up my hands with the same take. Shoot. And yes, the risk of getting that bass note wrong is bigger, but it can happen anyway, first of all, and it will be just a matter of practicing. It will be just a matter of practicing. One thing that is actually not bad with this is to practice it with closed eyes, and not to do that, not start doing that with closed eyes, but really go and feel, because your sense of throwing, where to throw your finger and your hand, is really augmented like that. Practice it like that and sit for a while with closed eyes and make that, make your fingers and hands and arms and wrists and everything get their own ice. That's what I'm kind of, how I used to say that they get the ice, not the ice themselves. So they have a sort of a feeling of where to go by themselves, and then when you start using your ice again, it's a lot easier. So I would, if I do it slowly, even when you practice slowly, try to be completely relaxed, and you land here, so you don't forget to do this. Wada. Down, up, down, up. Up, 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 up. A little bit same thing. This is what I mean. Now he feels like what? Having a beautiful, nice, freedomly felt theme in F major. Playful. I like those to have them without pedal, so you really hear. It's not that hard to do. You should move this. It's the same, in Brahms. I think this actually inspired Brahms in his third piano sonata to this is the same thing. With this little playful thing in between. The right hand, try to move it. So weight, lift weight, lift the weight up in between. So you're moving this melody, you're singing this melody with your whole arm instead of thinking some kind of strange, you know, having some notes in the chord legato but not others. I prefer just to what you can do is do legato in the first time you have it, when you don't have any that you have to take care of. Then you can actually have a sort of a legato in the top voice here. And there are 4 slurs. It's here, 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 and here. And I think you should think of those, like breathing the music with those slurs. Now it comes again and again, it comes in minor, he plays. And I recently did a video with the slow movement of the Pastoral Sonata. And this is a little bit the same thing concerning the pedal, that you have to dip the pedal very quickly here. So you can't just play it with full pedal, you know. I don't think. What you have to do is to make sure that this is let go before you connect with the pedal. And that's quite a lot of work with the pedal, actually. If I do it, even if I do it slowly, it gets busy. Sorry. It is a big difference to me, though, how these come alive. If you just don't, if you play them like that with its own life, instead of just like a little shading of the melody. So they have to live, and so you have to find that way of making that melody sing. And pedal-wise, don't over-pedal. So you can also breathe here with the slurs. So you pedal in a way that it's just a little tad you bring down the foot in between the chords, and so then you still keep it. We're back. And here, of course, difficult. As I said before, Beethoven had very good and fast and easy double notes, and he wants us to know that. Just play these very light. The first one, the short one. Be super light. Think of, that's actually what you play. Or, and then you just kind of, you touch those very lightly. This is literally how little you play those notes. So you just right when you reached that, right on that point at the bottom of the key, which doesn't feel like the bottom of the key. It feels like you haven't reached the bottom of the key yet, but there is that, where that sound is created. Then you go to the next one. So it's how light you are with the small notes of that third. Then we have the same thing. He comes back with those octaves. Not easy. It feels a little bit funny how they sound musically, don't you think? When they were made, or when they were played the first time, they had this, reason for being there, because he wanted to change tonality to this. I couldn't help but playing, just testing how it worked. It's starting to work okay. Some more practice on that and I will be fine in a week. But when you don't do those, when that doesn't happen, it sounds pretty. It sounds almost like he's making a little bit fun of himself, or like somebody who is important and he thinks he's very important, but behind his back, people are like, he's a little silly. right? It's nothing, and he doesn't do anything there. It has already been played. It's not the greatest phrase that Beethoven ever made, and still he puts it in there. And harmonically, it makes absolutely no difference whatsoever. You can cut it out. It wouldn't matter. But it's there. And so it has this caricature a little bit of self-importance. And then our beloved place. Same thing, same thing. It's not an easy sonata, not an easy sonata. Those, the way to play those, or the way to play those, there are several ways, I'm sure, but a good way to practice those is really to think of them in two. So technically you can even do this, and be very aware of when it's a black and white key on the, here, black key, white, black, 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 white. And here it's all white. Like with all double notes, I think that one good way of practicing is also to, once you play one double note, here, you always prepare for the next. So you go, when you play this, you prepare for the next three fingers. And here, you prepare for the next. So when you play this, you're already with your fingers ready to play the next one. Even here. That is an excellent way of practicing every third, fourth, or whatever it is. And so then you have, when you come to the trill, sorry, and here you have those double trills. Here, what I do is that I trill this, the thumb and two, and this, I just shake it as much as I can. There's no way I'm going to be like trilling like that thirds. I can't do it. If someone out there can do it, good for you. Congratulations. But there's no reason to get stuck in those 2 seconds of trills. By just play this, and then just shake there. Minor. And now, it's difficult right to the end, huh? It gives you a little reason to practice your C major octaves. And we will, of course, have an octave video coming in the technique series. Whether if it's not there already when you watch this, it will definitely be there soon. So yeah, this is one of the big sonatas to play in terms of time-wise, in terms of technically how demanding it is. It might not be the most profound of his sonatas, view what is coming in the future, but it certainly is a great challenge to play and a fun sonata to play, so it's understandable that many students wants to play it. The challenge musically, I would say, is do not get tangled up in it technically in a way so that it sounds too much like, how should I say, a technical challenge that you are mastering. Do you get what I mean? So it's still a musical storytelling you are doing. Even though there are showy, virtuosic passages, those are here and there, but overall, this is not a sonata that you can only have good technique and manage to play all the notes really fast and great. No, you have to put the musical storytelling first, even though it is a very openly brilliant sonata.